So we're looking at a brand new cartridge, the 300 PRC, which stands for Precision Rifle Cartridge. Now the 300 PRC is based on the 375 Ruger cartridge case, but it's neck down to 30 and it's got several other different attributes and so on. This is built from the ground up for long, heavy for caliber, aerodynamic projectiles, whether it be really long match bullets or the really long aerodynamic hunting bullets. Now, most people would say, why another 30 cal Magnum? Why another 300? We know there's a lot out there, but this really has more to offer than what you may think at first take. Joe, tell us a little bit about where this came from and what its attributes are.
Sure. A little bit of the history on it. I developed this cartridge like 10 years ago to launch heavy match bullets in the 1,000-yard bench rest game. I needed a better platform to launch projectiles from, to test them. I was testing bullets, to make a better projectile. So this morphed into what it is today. It's basically the same since then, but yeah. So what it does, as far as why another 30 cal mag, the 300 PRC was built from the ground up for your long, heavy bullets, but it doesn't just do that. You can launch any 30 caliber projectile out of this thing, just like you could in say a 300 Win Mag, but when a 300 Win Mag gets up to the 210s, 212s, 225s, the long ogive bullets, you cannot load those to length and fit them in your magazine. The 300 PRC was built from the ground up to handle all those. So I tell people, I'm like, all right, you want a 30 cal mag to do it all, you need a 300 PRC because you can put 150 grain bullets in there if you want. You can put 230 grain bullets in there if you want, and you can fit them all in your magazine. You can feed them out there. You can single feed them if you want. And then the design of the chamber and the cartridge, did it just like we did the 6.5 Creedmoor, 6 Creedmoor, 6.5 PRC. Design the cartridge and the chamber all at the same time. So what you can do is you can marry up the angles and the diameters and stuff in there to make things just work. And people are very familiar with, you grab a 6.5 Creedmoor off the shelf and you go shoot it. Same thing. I mean, there's a reason why we still use it today on our shooting team to shoot the long range precision bench rest game, because it just works. You dump powder in it, stuff a bullet on top, and go shoot. You got a half-minute rifle. I have a hunting rifle. I got match rifles. I have different ones of my own, and you literally just buy the ammo or load them and go shoot them, and you have a very accurate platform. So it's a 30 cal Magnum that does everything that you have, but it does more. So why would you not want all the bells and whistles? I mean, that's the way I look at it. Why would you not get something that you're going to get a new rifle anyway? You would want one that does it all.
Absolutely. Every attribute that added to what the 6.5 Creedmoor brings to the table. It shoots good in everybody's rifle, whether it's a $5,000 custom rifle or a $300-400 economy rifle. It shoots well, and that has a lot to do with the cartridge and that chamber design. This is basically a 300 Magnum version of that has that same geometry, the same style of chamber design, but you're shooting a lot bigger, heavier bullets. We're going to be offering it in a 225 grain ELD match load and also in a hunting load in Precision Hunter with a 212 grain ELDX bullet. Now you can't just go to the store and find ammo in your 300 Win Mag or your RUM or 3378 that's got those long, heavy bullets in them. You may have some heavy bullets, but they are not aerodynamic long ones that are great for long-range shooting. Long-range shooting is very popular right now, especially when you get into some of the ELR matches. Now, those, a lot of times you're really stretching out. 1200 is maybe one of the closer ranges, and you're going out much further. When you start playing beyond 1200, and especially out at 2000, you're really going to benefit from a consistent cartridge and one that uses powder efficiently with very low variations in your velocity. Now, that is something that the 300 PRC brings to the table in spades.
Definitely. That's one thing we didn't talk about earlier. One of the details that's in this cartridge is it seems like a lot of cartridges out there, you might be able to put a ton of powder in and push a bullet really fast, or they run at lighter charge weights and not as fast. Well, this one here is a 30 cal that burns about the right amount of powder to make it very, very efficient and very, very accurate. You can burn all the powder that's in the case. I should preface that. You can fill the cartridge case first of all with propellant, and then you can burn all of that propellant out in your barrel to give you a very uniform muzzle velocities. As Neil stated, you're going to need that, especially past 800, 1,000, 1,200 yards. You have to have good EVs, and you have to have good bullets. And beyond that 1,200 yard mark, it doesn't matter. The bullet takes over. You have to have high BC, very sleek, very efficient projectiles in order to do well out there. And that's what this platform allows you to do, is launch those type of bullets very accurately out of your rifle platform.
Yeah, well, let's talk about, for instance, the 300 Norma Mag, because that is one of the more popular big 30 cal magnums, and it is a thumper. It's got very impressive velocity and so on, but it is a big fat case that, with the current powders that are out there, it's very difficult to fill that capacity up. So there's always going to be air gap unless you go to 50 BMG class powders, which are too slow.
And you can't burn
for
them
this
out.
one. So
Yes.
getting really low EVs in a 300 Norma Mag is a challenge. It may shoot wonderful at a few hundred yards and shoot okay at distance, but when you get out past 1,200, if you have 50 to 80 feet per second variances in your fastest and slowest shots, you're going to go above or below your target and you can't do a thing about it. That's why we want to focus on not velocity so much, having the right cartridge case to push the bullet consistently each and every time. Let the bullet do the work.
That's a very good statement. Let the bullet do the work.
So not only do we have this 225 grain ELD match load, but we also have this 212 grain ELD X in the Precision Hunter load. Now, during some hunts I've been on in various shoots, I've shot this match load out, past 2,000 yards. It's a lot of fun. But I've also taken time out during hunts and just played shooting rocks with this hunting load out to 1248. It's great. It's like literally, it's hunting ammo you could shoot a match with.
That's exactly right.
Now, hand loaders, of course, whether you've got a 300 Win Mag or a 300 Ultra Mag or whatever, you have a lot of flexibility in what you can do. And you can seat bullets out, you can do all sorts of things, but you can't go to the store and buy ammo with some of these long, heavy bullets.
Yes. That's the whole crux of the problem that we were solving is you can seat out whatever bullets you want heavy in a 300 Win Mag or rum, whatever, and you can't fit it in your magazine, number one, and B, you can't go buy it. So the guys that don't have, that aren't just reloaders, they're just hunters and shooters and want to go buy ammo.
Yep.
That's why we built this cartridge.
Sure.
It'll do everything and you can buy it off the shelf.
Absolutely. And let's talk about the 300 Win Mag for a second. Because,
Sure.
It's been tried and true for a long time, and it does shoot well. Guys that use it for matches and so on usually have a match chamber, not the standard SAMI spec chamber that you're going to find in an average rifle off the shelf. Maybe talk a little bit about why that is.
One of the big differences is the throw diameter in 300 Win Mag is like 315 diameter-wise, and you're shooting 308 bullets. So you got, in terms of bullets and finding the rifling, that's like a country mile. So the bullets don't necessarily line up and engrave straight in there. Well, we revamped that, totally fixed that with this one. You put a nice concentric, tighter free bore in there for these 308 diameter projectiles, and you just make the free bore a little bit over, and they line up and they engrave in the rifling straighter, and therefore they shoot better. And they're more forgiving in all the platforms that we talked about earlier. You can go buy a custom gun, factory gun, whatever, get this ammo, or load it if you want, and it's gonna shoot well.
Absolutely. And you're not pushing the bullet way down into the case. When you shove a bullet, especially a long aerodynamic bullet, down into the case, it has a lot of room to wiggle while the ignition is going off. And then in the 300 Win Mag's case, you're shoving it into a throat area that's bigger than the bullet, 315 as opposed to 308. There's a lot of room for error there. So we try to minimize what we call inbore yaw. We want the bullet to go straight into the rifling, into that engagement, so that it comes out straight. Again, 6.5 Creedmoor, case in point, why it just shoots well in everything. It's because we've minimized any chance that bullet is going to come out sideways. Now there's some other 300 caliber magnums that are out there. We'll pick on them all, equally, but the 30 Nosler, it's fine cartridge and so on. Again, you're shoving that bullet way down into the case, unless you're doing something custom. The 300 Ultra Mag, again, big thumper, impressive velocities. Try keep those EVs way, way down at distances, and it's a challenge. And try shoot a 10-shot group with a 300 Ultra. It is not going to be the same those last 4 or 5 rounds by any stretch.
You're burning so much powder. There's so much heat and everything happening in there, not to mention the other things that we already talked about, shoving the bullet down in there, that it's just hard for those giant overbore cartridges burning that much powder to be consistent over longer strings.
Absolutely. So there's certainly going to be the guys that are always online saying, my .6 does everything I need it to do, and I don't see any point in any of this. Well, that's fine. Enjoy your .6, that's great. There's a lot of people that are getting more into shooting further distances and so on, and there's definitely something to be gained. You can buy factory ammo in this, high performance ammo. You can hand load. There's a lot of fun to be had, especially if you're into ELR shooting. But what the average shooter can gain from this is you can go to the store as these rifles come out and get a rifle that's going to shoot well, just like the Creedmoor.
Yep.
Whether it's an expensive rifle or an economy-based rifle, you're going to benefit from a rifle that shoots well with high-quality ammunition to boot.
At Hornady, we are always looking, to do things different, innovate or whatever, and 300 PRC is a case in point. We're not content just to design rounds of ammunition that conform to all the existing guns out there, as far as specifically what I'm talking about is magazine lengths and throats and chambers and stuff. We have all these great, modern aerodynamic long-range projectiles, whether it be hunting, match, or whatever. We need to get these bullets into ammunition and be able to let guys to go buy ammo and shoot their rifle with high-performance stuff. There's no reason to limit these bullets and stuff to hand loaders, and that's exactly what we did.
Hand loading is fun, but you don't have to be a hand loader to enjoy these really high-performance projectiles. That is the point. That's what we want to try and offer. You as the customer will certainly be the judge in this, and I think people will find over time that we got a winning cartridge here in the 300 PRC. You can find more information about this at Hornady.com.